How are you?
Hi, Brianna. I'm doing very, very well. And you?
I'm good. You look like you're in a trailer. Are you on set right now?
Yes, yes. I just walked off set. We're filming a scene. I told them I have a very important interview at 1, so I got the scene done, and now I'm here with you. So it's a good timing.
Awesome. So Queens, I've been seeing a lot of commercials about it. It's coming out soon. I think it's going to be a really interesting show. Um, can you tell us a bit about your character and how he fits in with the dynamic with the women in the girl group?
I I jokingly but very serious when I say I'm the luckiest man in show business right now. I get to work with some incredibly talented women, strong personalities, uh, amazing artists, and so it just carries over artistically. I play Eric Jones. I play a music producer and manager who rises to stardom by managing the. They later on become the queens, but they start out as the nasty bitches, the nasty bees in the late 90s. And we experienced a lot of success. The group dissolved because of some drama we're having within our group, some relationship issues, some financial issues. But then we decided to run it back in current time when we've all learned from our life experiences, gone through our own individual trials, and we're trying to see if we can get back to that magic of our lives. So Eric is a very dynamic character. I'd like to say that he's 360. He's very full. There's no shying away from the parts of him that aren't ideal. And I think the writers have placed the character in a position where you get to really understand, what makes Eric tick the way he does.
And you talked about working with, big names. I know people will mostly know Brandy, of course,
Yeah.
and Eve, but also Naturi was also in a group at one point. Like, what is that like for you to work with such well-known, like musical talents?
It's like a master class producer, and I rely on them heavily. Studio choices and decisions for them as artists, watching their process. There's very little acting involved there on my end. I literally get to see them prepare their music, lay down the tracks, work with producers, put their acts and performances together, and they work incredibly hard. I'm inspired on a daily basis working with them. So, sorry, one moment.
No, you're fine.
Interview. I'm in an interview. I'm so very sorry.
No, you're fine.
They're knocking on the door right now. Set life. So it's been a blessing to work with them. Incredibly insightful. And also to work with people you've watched to some capacity for a decade or two who are icons, but yet so very humble and, dare I say, just normal. You know what I mean? So sweet, normal. So I feel like I'm in a very fortunate position with this show to work with these big names, but also have a great working relationship with them on set.
What kind of connection do you have to music or to, I guess, musical groups, girl groups, anything like that?
So I was born in Liberia, and I moved from Liberia to Queens. So I grew up in Queens, and at a time where the music that we're depicting in the show, I lived through that era. All the exciting things that were happening in hip hop, and all the iconic female performers, who made their mark on the game. So, I'm well versed, with the MC Lights and the Queen Latifahs, and then moving on to the Eves and the Brandies and all their involvement in the music industry. And so I feel like I'm well versed enough, and I appreciate just the content we're putting forward, and what we're trying to present to the fans. My late brother, also worked for Def Jam back in the day in music. I grew up in a place in Queens called Left Rack City. I was on the 8th floor.
Mm-hmm.
Noriega, the rapper Nori, he lived on the 5th floor. So I was surrounded by music, talent, energy, just that overall New York City vibe.
Do you have a favorite girl group? Doesn't necessarily have to be from the 90s, can be from any time.
A favorite girl group? Oh man, I just remember, because I have sisters. I remember En Vogue, that stands out. TLC. I mean, they were absolutely iconic. TLC, from their swag, just the way they dressed. the things that they would get involved in every once in a while in the news. They just had an exciting, fresh energy to them. And I feel like what a lot of groups or artists try to do now, a group like TLC was on the forefront of it in terms of, adding topics of social importance, in their music with Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls and how they dressed, and Lisa Left Eye Lopez expressing herself with the eye black under her eye. They were ahead of their time. So TLC is a group that really, really stands out to me as a super cool group that I enjoyed back in the day.
So this is my last question because we're out of time. What can the audience expect from the show from you throughout the season? What can they have to look forward to?
If I'm doing my job right, and I think we are, because the writing is incredible, they're going to want to tune in every week to figure out what's going to happen next. And I think one week they'll love Eric, next week they'll hate him, but every week there will be evidence provided as to why he's a redeemable human being. He's a full-blooded person, and they'll find a commonality, with the character in terms of there's no perfection here. There's no calling him an evil character. He's real. He's human, and the circumstances of the show will highlight that. So we have good stuff set and ready for the fans.
Well, Taylor, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day on set. They probably want you back because they were knocking quite a bit.
Knocking on the doors, you can hear. Sorry about that.
Yeah, they were peeking their head and they're like, back to set, back to set.
Absolutely.
But again, thank you for taking time out, and I wish you the best of luck with the show, and I can't wait for it to premiere to, see how the season goes.
And the honor and the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so very much, Brianna. I appreciate your support.